Hello and welcome to my book discussion. For those of you who don't know, I know a lot of people will be watching this who do know me, but I do know that I've also gained a little bit of a following and some newcomers who don't know me as much only from my book. My name is Brinzy Thompson, and I am the author of the book 30 Single and Still Deserving. Why my age doesn't mean that I have to settle. Neither do you, no matter what age you are. I'm super excited to be able to share some personal discussions with you all about my book. I've opened it up to where people could ask questions and or leave comments, and then I have some things that I'm going to talk about as well. And this is leading up to my 31st birthday, which is February the 8th, where I will be sharing with you all a new project that I have been working on. It is not a book, but I'm super excited about it, and I hope that it is going to be encouragement to you like it has been to me and the people who are helping me on it. So super pumped about that. That's what this is about, but I also knew that I could not end 2020 without finishing out this project. I released this book in February, and then shortly after that, the pandemic started happening, and there was a lot of other things going on in the world that I felt like my attention needed to be focused on, and I knew other people's attention were going to be focused on as well. So I kind of put my book on the back burner. People continue to purchase it. Thank you so much to everyone who has purchased it. If you have not, please support me and get your copy. So I put it on the back burner, but I could not start a new project and share that with you all without making sure that this chapter of my life was closed. And so the next few weeks leading up to my birthday, I'm going to be discussing the chapters of the book, sharing some personal insight with you all, and then again also leaving it open to you to ask me questions if you would like to do so. Just a little bit about me before we start. For those of you who don't know me, Brinzy Thompson, I am still 30 years old until February the 8th. I was born and raised in Dickson County, Tennessee. Good Southern girl. Graduated from Dickson County High School in 2008, and from there went to college at MTSU, which is Middle Tennessee State University in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I majored in mass communications. Got my degree. My focus was public relations, a minor in marketing, and randomly Spanish. Most of the work that I've done since then has centered around community outreach, community liaison, public relations, marketing, advertising, things of that nature. I have an amazing little boy who is 11 years old. His name is Josiah, and he is the love of my life. And I love to write. I love to talk. I love social media. I love sharing my life experiences with others and hope that it encourages them. I also love hearing about other people's life experiences and journeys and things like that. I love people, absolutely love people, love helping people, love being outdoors. I love my family, huge family girl. Yeah, that's a little bit about me. I love coffee, Dunkin' Donuts, little plug right there. That's me. Enough about me. Well, more about me, but enough about me personally. Well, I guess this is me personally too, but this is so out of my element, so nervous, never done anything like this before in my life, but we're going to do it. So let's dive in. What I'm going to do is start with some of the questions that were asked of me. There is a link to a form that I will post again, where if you have questions about any of the upcoming chapters or just about the book in general, or even comments that you would like for me to share on camera, I'm more than willing to do that. So I'm going to answer these questions, and then I just have a few things that I want to talk about that have stuck out to me in the first chapter that we're going to discuss, and that will be it. So question number 1 is, what inspired you to write your book? Wow. Oh, I was in a really low place when I wrote this book. In the process leading up to this book, I had went through a heartbreak and really wanted to do something for myself. And the heartbreak happened, I believe, in like October. And so shortly after that, my birthday was coming up, and I just felt like I needed a release, and I wanted something to feel empowered and to feel good about myself. And I've always wanted to write a book. And so I came up with this crazy idea in the short amount of time that I did to write a book. and centering around that heartbreak, I really felt like I was undeserving at that time. And so then just brainstorming and my birthday coming up and all of that came 30, single, and still deserving. And that's kind of a short answer of what inspired me to write my book. Question number 2, was writing your book hard? Yes and no. It wasn't hard in the sense of these are like personal reflections of my life. And so I didn't have to do a lot of research. I knew what I was writing about. It was hard trying to put my thoughts on paper and then organizing that into different paragraphs and then chapter breakdown, things like that, I think were kind of harder. I am no professional book writer at all. This was my first book, super rough draft. I'm actually going to release a second version of this book, just updated on some things that I saw in it afterwards that were kind of wrong. So in that sense, that part was hard, but actually writing the book, I love to write. That part wasn't as hard. Thanks for that question. Question number 3, how did you find an editor for your book? Funny story, I didn't have an editor. And if you are an editor and read the book, I'm sure you saw some mistakes in there. I'd actually had an editor that I was talking with, and for some reason communication fell off with that person when it came to editing the book. And at that point, it was way too last minute for me to try and find someone else. Funny story, I started writing the book literally maybe a couple of weeks before my birthday. I told my best friend Joe, I'm done. I'm not writing the book. And so it got put on the back burner. And like a week and a half before my birthday, I was like, you know what? I'm finishing this. So by the time the editor had fallen off in communication there, and then me deciding not to write the book and then to write the book, I didn't have a professional editor. So myself and Joe did the best that we could as amateur editors to edit the book. But I do know tons of people I could get you in contact with now that I've built my network and things like that could edit a book if you are interested in that. I hate that communication fell off with the person I was working with because I love excellence, and that's why I'm going to redo a second version of this just to kind of fix some errors that we saw after the fact. So yeah, I did find an editor, but I didn't find an editor. But there are so many people out there who can edit, so you can find someone. Fourth question. Thank you for that question. Do the guys you wrote about in your book know that they are in your book? Mostly no. So again, the book is a self-reflection book about personal experiences that have happened to me. I asked 2 of the guys specifically if I could write about them. And I only mentioned one of the guys' names. So there's a guy in there that I talk about named Kaderi. I asked him if I could put his and my story in the book. And he is the only one I list by name, and he was good with that. The other person is Josiah's dad. Josiah's my son. I told him that I was putting a chapter about him in the book. Other than that, the other guys were not notified that I wrote about our experiences, and unless they read my book, they would not have any idea anyways. Also, I don't list things specifically, so there's no like slander or ways that you could put together who was who unless you knew my entire life story or if you asked me. So no, most of the guys, other than the 2 that I just mentioned, don't know that they are in my book. Funny story. All the guys I wrote about in my book on my 30th birthday when I released this told me happy birthday, except for 2. One I'm no longer in contact with, and the other just didn't tell me happy birthday. So there's that. Thank you for that question. How did you self-publish your book? I did it through Amazon. Super easy process. Again, no professional. This was my very first time. I didn't do any sort of outside advertising for it other than word of mouth and via my social media and people sharing it. So did everything on Amazon. Amazon KDP. It's a super easy process to do. So many how-to resources out there to help you get through it, of uploading your book and your cover and getting an ISBN number, and you can even do advertising through them and setting up prices and All of that was through Amazon. That's how I did it. Looking forward to doing it again with future books that I write, and definitely amping up things more. But if you have any other questions about that, feel free to reach out to me and I'll help. Are you going to write another book? Yes, I am going to write another book eventually. Again, like I said, I wrote this book from a place of heartbreak and hurt, and I've overcome a lot of that. And so my next book, I plan to write more out of a place of healing, and I'm super excited to share that journey with you all as well. Thank you for that question. So yeah, those are all the questions and the comments that I got. Again, for the next video, I'll put that link back up, and feel free to ask me any questions about whatever topic or subject or chapter we're talking about, or any general questions about the process and the book writing in general. So diving in right quick, because I don't have a lot of time. The first thing that I wrote, it was my birthday. You know what I've always wanted to do by the time I was 30? Publish my own book. Really not necessarily by 30, but I always wanted to publish a book. You know what I didn't want to be at 30? Single. I did not want to be single at 30. And yet, here I am, single with not even a prospect in sight. That was one of the opening statements in my book, and it still rings true today. I still didn't plan to be single, but here I am, and I've learned, though, to be okay with that it is okay, no matter what age you are, to be single and to live in your moment and the season of where you're at in your life now. So I encourage you, if you're at a place in your life where you think you should be further along than what you are, know that you are not alone. You're not by yourself. There are other women out there who are in that same boat as you, but it is okay. Don't compare your life to others. We're so bad about doing that, and I do that, and think about how life is unfair because I don't have this and I don't have that. But everyone's journey is different. My journey is different from your journey. Your journey is different from mine. But as long as you stay in your purpose and you're happy and you are not dragging your feet and living your life for a mate, that's okay. Continue to live life and be happy and do the things that you want to do while you are waiting. The biggest thing is don't settle, because you are worth more than settling, and you deserve it. You're still deserving, right? Until recently, I hadn't been in a relationship in 10 years, and even before that, I hadn't been involved in too many serious relationships other than high school and early college days. I have been very strategic and purposeful about not dating, because I am a single mother and I have a son, and frankly, I didn't want men running in and out of his life. And so even flings that I've had or relationships with males that I've had that I knew were not going to be long-term, they never met my kid. And I think that is so important for those single moms out there. Do not let men run in and out of your life, because it affects your children. And same for men. Don't let women run in and out of your life, because it affects them in ways that you have no idea. And I saw that with what led me to this book and the heartbreak, and it made me even more aware of why I didn't do that and why I haven't done that for so long, because our children are important to us. And not only do we deserve better and we deserve more and we're valuable, our children are as well. Our children deserve the very best. And so just guard your heart, guard your children whenever you do start dating, when you enter into the dating world. And that's all I'm gonna say about that, so I don't go on a soapbox. I've become deeply disheartened at how society dictates to women what we deserve from a man. And this is so true, because I see, again, so many women and so many people settling, and then society dictates that it's okay to cheat, and it's okay to mess around with other people, and it's okay to be abusive. And we see that so prevalent in our communities and with people that we know. But I'm here to tell you that it is not okay. It is not okay to be in an abusive relationship. It is not okay for you to sit and be cheated on. It's not okay for you to be, not even abusive goes for physical, it goes for verbal, it goes for emotional, it goes for spiritual. Any sort of abuse is not okay for you to be with. And I don't care how society tries to deem that it is okay and that you have to stay in that relationship that you're in because you can't do any better. It is a lie. It is not true. You deserve better. You are worth way more than any sort of abuse or cheating or whatever it may be, depression that you're going through if you're in a relationship. You're worth more than that, and you can get out of it. You can start over, and you will be okay. You are deserving of so much more than that. If that is you and you feel like you don't have anyone else to reach out to, please reach out to me, and I promise you I will be there to help you through it the best that I know how, and I'll link you with other people who can be there and support you as well. It's another one of my soapboxes. So jumping into the first chapter right quick, I have 13 different chapters or reflections, and I'm just going to talk about the first one today, and it is called A Man After God's Heart. Each chapter is a different reflection of a part of my life and a male friendship or relationship that I was involved with, and what I went through, what I learned from it, and how I'm deserving of more than what that was. First one, A Man After God's Heart, I lead off with this chapter first because my faith and relationship with God is the most important part of my life, and that still rings so true today, forever. It will always be the number one most important thing in my life, regardless of what I'm going through, regardless of how screwed up I am, regardless of how many times I mess up, regardless of how unperfect I am. My relationship with God is the number one most important thing in my life, and it's something that I strive to live by. I strive to do right by. I don't get it right all the time. Guess what? Neither do you. So judge somebody else. But I don't get it right all the time. But when it comes to finding a partner in life, this is something that is so dear to my heart. I write, finding a man who actively chases after God like I do, like I strive to do and want to do even more so, has probably been one of the hardest aspects of dating men around my age. And I don't know where they at. I know they out there because I see them and I hear about other people's relationships and testimonies. But for me, and being a young adult who tries to live my life according to God's will and his way, it is hard. And I don't know if anyone else has that problem. If you do, let me know. If you have a solution to it, let me know. I know I need to pray about it. I need to fast about it, all that stuff. But if you got to hook up with some godly men that are single, holla at your girl. But for real though, I want a man who I can do ministry with, and that's so important to me. And it might not be to you, and that's okay. I know this book has reached a lot of different people, but for me, this was number one on my list. I write, reality is I'm just a girl who loves Jesus, strives to live my best life according to his word, but still mess up a whole lot. And I kind of already touched on that as well. I've been in relationships before and situationships and what did Jada and Will call entanglements that didn't glorify God. I've been in those relationships and they obviously didn't work out. And that's why it's so important that future relationships and the relationship is rooted and grounded in the Lord. I've tried to compromise. I'm still single. I tried to force things, still single. I tried to work things out, still single. And this is why it's so important to be equally yoked with someone. The Bible talks about that in 2 Corinthians 6:14. And that just means that you're on the same page with each other when it comes to your relationships with God. Doesn't mean that you're going to be maybe right here. You might be here, you might be here, but you're equally yoked, meaning that for me, we both believe in Jesus Christ. We're both striving to live our life according to his will, his way, his purpose, and that we want to do this thing together with him being in the center of it and leading the way. Whenever I was in relationships that were not equally yoked, I noticed a difference in many things: how we handled conflict, how we communicated with each other, the things we did, the places we went, the people we hung out with, but most importantly, there was a difference in me. And I compromised a lot and I slipped up and still do. Don't want anyone to think that I am just a saint out here. But I find myself doing those things more often when I'm in relationships that are not glorifying God and where we're not on the same page with where we are with our relationship with Christ and even talking about it. So want to make sure that is, again, the number one thing for me for my next relationship. I wrote, for me, my relationship with God is vital to my existence. I wouldn't be who I am without God. I wouldn't be where I am without God. And I thank him for that. I thank him for where he's brought me from and where he's taken me to. And I pray and know that he has a man out there that is looking for me. So I'm holding on and I'm waiting for that because I deserve it. I'm going to end with this. I want someone who loves going to church, who loves to worship God, an accountability partner, someone I can study the Word of God with, who covers me in prayer and who seeks God about our relationship, someone who prayed for me to be in his life. Those are the things that I desire in a male when it comes to relationships with God. And with that, I'm going to end because I could talk forever. But yeah, that's the first chapter, and again, I encourage you to get the book, read it, 30 Single and Still Deserving, and make you a list of what's important to you. Like I said, these things that are important to me might not be important to you, and it might not resonate with you, but whatever it is for you, male or female, write out what you want in a partner and stick to that. Granted, you're not going to get 10 out of 10 on the list. I've come to accept that, because I believe I have some high standards. But there are certain things that you know that you can't compromise on, that you won't compromise on, because you are deserving of those things. You are worth those things. You are valuable and beautiful and precious and handsome and fine, and you deserve it. So that is the beginning of the book and the first chapter. I'll be going through all of these chapters again leading up to my 31st birthday, which is February the 8th, 2021. And I hope it helped. I hope that if nonetheless it encourages you to go after your dreams and to do what you desire to do in life. Writing a book was one of mine. If it's one of yours, know that you can do it. If it's not, whatever it is, know that you can do it. Again, thank you so much for being a part of this with me, and I look forward to talking with you all next week. Much love. Bye.
You make up this moment.